The scene here in D.C. has felt anything but normal over these past few months. Everything from DOGE cuts to federal layoffs, an overall theme of bending government norms. It's been especially true inside the Department of Justice as the independence of the nation's law enforcement arm comes into question. One person who's felt the impact at DOJ is former U.S. pardon attorney Liz Oyer. She was never told exactly why she was fired from the DOJ in March, but her removal came after she refused to reinstate actor Mel Gibson's right to own firearms after his domestic violence conviction. Gibson happens to be a friend of President Trump. Oyer was with the DOJ for nearly 15 years and was one of a number of career officials fired since the start of the Trump administration. And she joins me now here on set. Liz, I want to thank you for being with us. And let's just start with your story, because you've spoken out about the circumstances surrounding it quite a bit. But overall, what did your abrupt firing mean for you and the people that you worked with?
Yeah, so I was fired without any notice on a Friday afternoon. I was in a meeting with a group of DOJ colleagues, and I was escorted out of that meeting and told that there were security officers waiting to walk me out of the building. That day, I packed up my stuff quickly into a grocery bag, walked out of the building. People I was passing were in shock. People were horrified. You know, I was a leader of my team. I think I was well liked by everyone I worked with, and nobody expected to see me escorted out in that fashion. And what's so awful about it is not just for me, but for everybody who is left behind, who's still there trying to find a path forward. Amazingly, the leadership of the department has not spoken with the team or given any guidance about why that happened or where to go forward. So it's just very upsetting and devastating, really, for a lot of individuals.
There's also a pattern that's starting to emerge here. Your instance, but then also the instance of the prosecutor who went before the Department of Justice in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case, the very prosecutor who said it was a deportation by mistake. That was certainly illuminating information for everyone in the courts, but it's also the thing that earned that prosecutor his walking papers soon after. What is the chilling effect here of the clear directive within the DOJ of you get on board with the way we want to do things, or you're out, which maybe to the casual observer says, all right, well, you should be in line with the administration if you're going to work there. But that's not how it's worked within DOJ.
Yeah, I mean, this attorney general, she has given multiple directives about faithfully carrying out the agenda of the president. And I don't think she understands the position that that puts people in. We as attorneys have an ethical obligation to the court to be truthful and to be candid. And we cannot compromise that. We also can't compromise our decision-making expertise. So in my situation, I was asked to make a recommendation in a case with serious implications for public safety. In the case of Mr. Gibson, rearming a person who has a history of domestic violence, it poses real risks to potential victims. So, you know, as a career person, not a political appointee, I have to use my knowledge and expertise to make a recommendation that is sound and in the interests of public safety. And that's frankly not what the leadership of the department is seeking. They're seeking people who will get on board with whatever the political agenda is. And if you're not willing to do that, you're out. That's what we've seen.
You make a distinction in the type of employee that you can be in DOJ, a career civil servant or someone who's a political appointee. These are terms that we throw around in D.C. a lot, but to the casual government observer might not mean a lot. But then layer on top of it the fact that the DOJ is not the president's personal legal arm. It is very separate from that.
Right, exactly. I mean, where things have gotten really confused is that the Justice Department is now being run by the president's team of personal lawyers, people whose job it once was to represent his individual interests. When
Todd Blanche, for example, in that New York hush money case.
Yeah, exactly. And Blanche's deputy, Emil Bove, and even the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, they've all made a living representing Donald Trump, the man. Now their job is to work on behalf of the American people, the public, and they don't seem to have made that pivot at all. They're asking people to treat the job as though they are the personal attorneys of the president, and that is just fundamentally inconsistent with how our system of justice works.
Only further underscoring that was the way that the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, introduced President Trump when he actually spoke at the Department of Justice just after you were fired from the DOJ. This is rare, but here's how she talked about it then. Watch.
We are so proud to work at the directive of Donald Trump. It is, he will never stop fighting for us, and we will never stop fighting for him and for our country.
Why is that such a notable thing for her to say?
Yeah, we're all working at the directive of Donald Trump. That's just not right. Typically, the Attorney General has a degree of independence and is thinking about how to implement the president's agenda, but consistent with the rule of law that has been the foundation of our constitutional democracy. And this Attorney General does not care a bit about preserving the rule of law. She is acting at the directive of the president, and she expects everyone else to do that at all costs. And it is just an untenable situation for the career attorneys who are not political appointees.
Thank you for telling us your story, for coming on, for sharing it, and just helping us understand what the DOJ should look like and how it should typically function. Liz Oyer, we really appreciate you coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.